ready for your mental maths? Here we go. Thumbs up, strong arm, good stuff. Okay, right. So you guys know how this works. We are going to have our timer ready, and we are doing multiplication today. So, and in 5, 4, let's do a minute because we've been doing this for a while now. So let's do a minute. Okay, off you go. 1 minute. Okay, we're halfway. Okay, and stop. Don't stress our muscles and to practice our mental maths. So, and how it normally works is we do about 20 sums and we try to do them in about a minute, minute and a half, depending what it is. And then afterwards we check how we did. So 5 times 9 is 45, 8 times 1, 8, that's 0. 9 times 7 is, no, it's not 56, it's 63. That one always catches me out for some reason. 6 times 9 is 72. And no, that can't be. Sure, I'm off today. 6 times 9. Okay, I'll come back to that one. I've gone blank. 40. 2 times 0 is 0. 7 times 3 is 21. 8 times 6 is 48. 3 times 21. 7 is 21. Oh, we had 2 of that. 18. 27. And then this must be 54.
Yeah.
6 times 9 is 54, and that's 10, and that's 1, and 6, and 2, and 56, and 7. Here we go. So you can write down what you got. And then if you want to, you can brag in the chat if you got them all right, or if you are improving, if you're proud of your result, put it in the chat. Nice, Lorona, 11 out of 11. That's good work. 9 out of 9. So for those of you who are new also, we take however many you attempted and how many you got right of the ones that you attempted. Okay, right. So now we must get ready for our next round, which is going to be, if you don't know, again, don't stress. You don't know it yet. So always say to yourself, I don't know this yet, but I am going to learn it. So, but some of you know this already, and that's fine. You can do the next round of mental maths. But if you don't know this yet, then don't stress. Then just check next time we do it again. Right. So there we go. And let's do also a minute. Off we go. Yeah, no calculator. You won't be quick enough with a calculator anyway. Calculator will just slow you down. And we have one person done already. Remember, it's not a race. And stop. There we go. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9, not 6. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 5 is 25. 6 times 6 is 36. 7 times 7 is 49. 8 times 8 is 64. 9 and 9 is 81. 100. 100. 121. What is 12 times 12? Can someone put it in the chat? It's 144. Nice things there. Good stuff. Okay, so again, give yourself a mark out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 12 if you did them all. Again, if you just attempted some, give yourself a mark out of however many you attempted and got right. Nice, Dora Jane. Okay, so does anyone know these ones we just did at the end here? Does anyone know what they were called? If we go same number times itself, so 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 9 times 9, 4 times 4. Does anyone know what those are called? Anyone got a clue? Some people say they've got no clue. Some Kelly looks like he might know multiple. Some of you are on the right track. So yes, that's right. We call it a square number. And that's basically what we are going to explore today, are square numbers. Okay, so the first lesson, if you are keeping a sort of book at home and you want to write a little heading, then you can call it square numbers. And square numbers, I think, are really fun. I really love square numbers because they are just perfect. They're like twins, really. Okay, so let me just switch screens here. I'm just going to do this and go here while you guys mull over square numbers. Okay, so we're going to do square numbers today and also cube numbers. So let's have a look. Miss Cat, can you guys see this? I just want to check because last week there was a problem with my connection and couldn't see it.
We can see it.
Okay. Right. So let's have a look. Which of the following numbers are square numbers? Now, for us to have a square number, it needs to be a number times itself. So let's start here with 121. Now let's start with something easier. Let's start with 4. So how do I get 4? What two numbers multiplied together gives me 4? Put it in the chat. 2 times 2. Yes, that's right. So we say that 4 is a square number because 2 times 2 gives me 4. And the numbers are the same. Right, give me a thumbs up if you understood that. 4 is a square number because it's 2 times 2. To get 4, you multiply 2 and 2. Can you see Liz giving me a strong arm? Okay. Right, so that's the first example. So let's go to 8. Now let's think of all the factors of 8. And can we find numbers that we multiply together that are the same that's going to give me 8? So 8, for instance, we're going to have 1 and 8. Does 4 times 4 give me 8? Think again. 4 times 4 does not give me 8. 4 times 2 gives me 8. That's right. So we can't actually find two numbers that are the same that we multiply together to give us 8. So 8 is not a square number. Okay. So 4 is a square number, 8 is not a square number. Let's move on to another one. Let's see. I want you to check now. We said our sort of criteria, or the way we know that a number is a square number, is if two numbers multiply together that are the same gives you that number. So let's look at 16. Is 16 a square number? Think about it for a second and then put it in the chat what you think. If you are saying that 16 is a square number, then tell me why. Why is it a square number? Nice, Bonclair. Bonclair says 4 times 4 is 16. There we go. So 4 times 4 gives me 16. So 16 is a square number. Okay, now I want you to check for 45. Will 45 be a square number? And if you think it is, show me the proof. And if you say no, show me the proof. I want to know why. 9 times 5 gives me 45. Can I find two numbers that's the same that gives me 45? No, we can't. That's right. Well done, guys. So 45 is not a square number. Okay, so I want you guys to look now for one more square number that's in the bubbles on the screen. We've done 4. Just to remind you, we've said 4 is a square number, 16 is a square number, and give me one more. Just from the screen, eh? Not just from anywhere, from what's on the screen. And square numbers are all about timesing, not adding, eh? So some people are saying 36. And if it's 36, how do we know 36 is a square number? Put it in the chat. Nice, 6 times 6. Well done, well done. That's right. And I think there's one more. Let's see if we can find it. There's one more. Put it in the chat if you know. Guys, 81 is not on the screen, so don't put 81. I'm just talking about the ones that are on the screen. It's 81 is a square number, but it's not on the screen. Hey?
It's on the top right.
I don't see it.
Top right, next to 35.
Oh, there we go. Oh, sorry, it was covered. Okay, so yes, 81. And yeah, there's 2 more after that. 49, well done, Offense, because 49 is 7 times 7. And 121 as well, that's 11 times 11. Why is 12 not a square number? 12 is not a square number. Why do I say that? Nice, Offense. Why is 12 not a square number? Yeah, 3 times 4 is 12. But remember, we said it needs to be 2 of the same numbers multiplied together to give me 12. But there aren't any. 4 times 3 is 12. It's not a square number. Don't confuse it with 6 plus 6. 6 plus 6, yes, gives you 12, but we are talking about timesing. And it's numbers times by themselves. Okay. Right. Let's see. Okay. Okay, let's look here for those of you who might still be struggling to understand. We can draw a picture of it. So if you're struggling to understand, have a look, because we're going to show it using a picture. So we've called these squared numbers, right? And that's because it is a number times itself that gives you the square number. So here we've got 2 and 2. So if you multiply that together for this first one, for the diagram here, just gonna click here to show the answers. That is 2 to the power of 2 is 4. Okay, so we'll talk a bit about that later. But basically, if you are thinking of it in terms of a picture, then you are timesing two numbers that are the same together. So here it's 2 by 2. If we move on to the next ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to be 5 times 5. And you can count how many squares there are. How many squares will there be if you count them? We can count them in 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So 5 times 5 is 25. Okay. And then what will the next one be? You can put it in the chat. 6 times 6, that's right, Bonke. And then 6 times 6 is how much? 36. Okay, good stuff. That was the next one. And then the last one, the last picture, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's a square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 8 is 64. Okay. Good stuff. Okay, let's leave this behind for now. We'll come back to it. And let's go here. Okay. Right. I'm going to take a few questions. Umuhle, you can ask your question. Umuhle.
Miss?
Yes.
Miss, when we're going to do this, the cube numbers.
Sorry, say again.
Miss, when are we getting homework, Miss?
Homework. Oh no, there's no homework at Watobe. Only a quiz on a Wednesday. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Sibelichle. Sibelichle. Your hand is up, so I assume you have a question.
Yes, ma'am. You are too. Yeah. Sorry. You are rushing, ma'am. I couldn't get some of the equations that you gave us, ma'am. Oh.
Okay, well, just listen. We're going to go over it again now. So we never just do something once. We do it over and over. So you always have a second chance to look at it again. Okay, so just keep listening and paying attention. And like Ms. Kat has put in the chat, if you really need to, you can watch the lesson again because it's all recorded. Okay. Right, so let's carry on. Let's look more at these square numbers. Okay, so with the mental maths, I just want us to go back here. And that's basically what we did. We did 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, 5 times 5 is 25, and so we went on all the way to the end. 1 times 1 is 1. Now, the way we can write it is to say that instead of saying just 2 times 2 is equal to 4, we are multiplying 2 by itself twice. So the way we can write it is to say 2 squared is equal to 4. So that word squared means that 2 is being multiplied by itself. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4. And instead of writing 2 times 2, another way of saying it is 2 squared is 4. Okay, let's do 3 times 3 equal to 9. How can we write it in a shorter way? By saying it's a square. We just say 3 squared is equal to 9. Now, don't get confused by looking at 2 squared is 4, because 2 squared means 2 times 2. It does not mean that you are timesing the 2 by itself. So if you look at 3 squared, that means 3 times 3. Okay, it's not the same as 3 times 2. So immediately I want you to be sure that you understand that this means 3 squared, and it's 3 times itself, which gives you 9, not 3 times 2. And let's do 4 times 4, which we said is 16, also a squared number because we're timesing the 4 by itself, and that's 4 squared is equal to 16. So that's how we write squared numbers, using that way of writing. Okay, it's the same, it's like writing in maths. It's the same as, you know, writing like a fraction in a certain way. We have this way to write square numbers. So if we go to our picture here, so our first one is done for us. So it's 2 squared is 2 times 2. And in a picture, we can show this as 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that might help you if you're struggling a bit to understand. 3 squared is 3 times 3. And if we had to draw it out, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that's a square. Right, you see, I'm getting some light bulb moments in the chat. Okay, now 4 squared, what do you think that's going to be? Someone said it already. Nosipo said it's 4 times 4. Excellent. So that's all it is. 4 squared is 4 times 4. And if we had to draw it out, we make 4 groups of 4. And I'm going a bit skewed, but yeah, it's a square. Okay. If you haven't learned it yet at school, you will learn it now in grade 7, because you are getting ready for high school, remember? So yeah. So 5 times 5, how can we write it as a square? We just write it as 5 squared. And then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 groups of 5. Remember, 5 times 5 just means 5 groups of 5. And we call it a square number, and that is 25. I'm drawing quickly here. 5 groups of 5, if we had to draw it. All right. So now let's see, how many dots will the 6th picture have? We're going to stop drawing because it's getting too much. So how many dots will the 6th picture have? So here we had 4, here we had 25, here what am I saying? We had 9, here we had 16, here we had 25. So what is our square going to be here? 6 groups of 6, lovely beauty, that is right. 6 groups of 6, which is 6 times 6, which is the same as 6 squared, which is 36. Okay. Now, what about the 10th picture? Nice, Hang, very nice. And Leishan also. I'm getting some DMs of answers as well. Excellent. 100. Why? Because it's 10 groups of 10. 10 times 10 is 10 squared, and that's 100. Okay. it's nice to learn something new. Or maybe it's not new, but you're trying it again. Okay, so we're just going to practice this again, just so that everyone is on the same page. So the next table, don't bother redrawing the table, okay? So take a screenshot so that you can have it for later. And then I want you to now just quiet, no answers in the chat. Maybe, Ms. Kat, if we can disable the chat for a minute or two. And now just quiet by yourself for about 2 minutes. Just write down what the missing parts of this table will be. Okay, right, everybody, we've had about 2 minutes. So Miss Kat, you can open up the chat again. And we're just going to see if we are getting a hang of this square number notation and squaring and all of that. So 3 squared, we can write as 3 times 3, and that is equal to 9. Excellent. I'm just going to change colors so it stands out more. 5 squared is the same as 5 times 5, is the same as how much? 25. Nice. I'm sure that was just a slip of the finger, hey? 7 times 7 is 49, and we can write this as 7 squared. So by the way, if you want to type it for me, then you type a 7 and the cuppy. Do you guys know this little hat thing, cuppy? Like that. Or you can say 7 squared. Like that, but you're not allowed to write it like this in your books and stuff. Right? It's only here where we don't have nice maths keyboards. At school, you must write it as 7 to the power of 2, or 7 squared. Okay, so 9 squared is 9 times 9, and 10 times 10 we can write as 10 squared, and making that 100. And then 12 squared is 12 times 12 is 144. Okay, looks like we are on track here. Well done. Okay, so now we're going to go on and we're just going to carry on practicing this. So for those of you who were a bit lost in the beginning, I hope you've caught up now. We've done it. This is now the 4th time. We're going to run through it. So we're just doing it in a different way with a little flow diagram. I love flow diagrams. I don't know, it makes sense. Okay, so 4 squared, pop it in the chat. 4 squared. So 4 squared means 4 times 4. Okay, just to clarify. 4 squared means 4 times 4. That's 16. Okay. And then 5 squared. How much is that? 5 squared is 5 times 5. It's 25. Okay. Next one is 6 squared. 6 times 6. How much is that? 36. Okay. And the last two, pop it in the chat if you know. 7 squared, what is that? 49. And 8 squared is 64. You see why we've been practicing our times tables and why we've been doing mental maths every day you come to Watobe, because it is the basis of everything we do. Okay, now we're going to think a little bit in reverse. Okay, so what we've got here in our flow diagram is a missing number squared is 144. So what number squared, this is what you must ask yourself. What must my input value be to get 144? So what number squared is 144? And everyone is shouting all at once. It's 12. Nice. Nice, guys. Excellent. Okay, now you have to think. What about 400? We haven't had 400 before. What times what? What number squared will give me 400? Some people are getting it. It's 20, yes. And always test your answer, okay? So if you're saying 200, 200 is going to be too big. 200 times itself won't give you 400. It will give you 2 times 2 is 4. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. 40,000. So 200 is too big. That's why you must always check. Like I've said to you many times before, does my answer make sense? Okay, now next one, also a little bit of a challenge. What number times itself gives me 225? Always check. If you're saying 50 times 50, check. Does it indeed give me 225? Okay, some people are saying 25. Does 25 groups of 25, does that give me 225? I don't think so. It's too big. It's 600. So go smaller. There, Zoe, what did you say? 15. So check 15 times 15. Do we get 225? So we go 10 times 10. Yeah, that works. 15. 169. Haha. Who's going to figure this one out? Let's see. What number times itself? So now we've got a clue. 15 times 15 gives me 225. So what number times itself is going to give me 169? I see lots of guesses. We need to check, guys. And some of you are right. Well done. There's a few of you who got 13. 13 times 13 is 169. Last one's easy. What number squared is going to give me 100? 10. Excellent. Very, very well done. Okay. Are we ready for cube numbers? Now that we've done the square numbers, are we ready for some cube numbers? So if a square number, there we go, looking strong. Okay. So if a square number is a number times itself, what do you think a cube number is? A cube number is a number times itself 3 times. So if we go 2 times 2 times 2, that is 2 to the power of 3. Don't confuse 2 times 2 times 2 with 2 times 3. Big difference. Okay, it's not the same thing. Not the same thing. It's 2 to the power of 3. And what is 2 to the power of 3? It is 8. Okay, now here we've got sketches again to help us as we first tackle this. So if we look at this little cube block here, it's 3 this way, 3 that way, and 3 up. So that's going to go 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 times 3 is 3 to the power of 3. I hope you guys are saying this with me at home. Lots of 3. That's 3 to the power of 3. And how much is 3 to the power of 3? 27. Nice. Because we go 3 times 3 is 9 times another 3 is 27. Okay. Let's do the next one. We've got 4 blocks, another 4 blocks, another 4 blocks. So how many blocks in total? We'll get that by going 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4 times 4, which is 4 to the power of 3, or 4 cubed. 4 cubed. And how do we work this out? 4 times 4 is 16. And then you have to multiply 16 by another 4. That is 64. Okay, do the last one on your own with E and F. Okay, we'll talk about square roots and squares next time. You can use brackets, yes. Okay, do the last one. I'm going to take these 2 questions. Dimple, you can unmute.
Ma'am,
Yes.
do we count the small blocks inside the cube?
So we're calculating how many there are, because we are saying, well, there's 4 going in the length and in the breadth and in the height. So that's why we are actually getting the total number of blocks by multiplying it together.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, have we got this one yet, everybody? Brilliant. You can ask your question while I quickly do this. 5 times 5 times 5.
Ma'am, is there another
Hello?
way you can calculate other than using sketches?
Other than using?
Sketches.
Yeah, we're not always going to use sketches. We're going to leave the sketches behind. Today is the last day we're using sketches, but the sketches are always there for you to come back to. If you don't like the sketches, just look at the numbers.
Oh, okay. Thanks, ma'am.
It's just because they're cubes, so they're cube numbers. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
5 times 5 times 5 is 5 cubed. That gives me 5 times 5 is 25 times by 5. This is not, I don't know how people are getting 75. Be careful. 5 times 5 is 25. And then we're going to times that by 5. So it's 25 groups of 5. Come, we just did a whole lot of multiplication. How can we do this quickly? We can break up the 20, because we are not using calculators, the 20 into a 20 and a 5. So 20 times 5 is 100. You can count it 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. And then 5 times 5 is 25. So it's 125. That's how many blocks there will be. Okay, we're going to do this last activity before we end. Okay, now don't get a fright. We are just writing these as cube numbers, meaning like we did here with the 4 times 4 times 4 is 4 to the power of 3. That's all I want you to do for these first ones. 17 times 17 times 17 is 17 to the power of 3. Okay, quickly do B, C, and D on your own. Ma'am, if 2 squared and 3 cubed, what is 4? Not sure I understand the question, Offense. Okay, so this is just, we are just writing it in our notation. 90 times 90 times 90 is 90 cubed. 100 times 100 times 100 is 100 cubed. 14 times 14 times 14 is 14 cubed. Okay, we'll do those next week. Right, I am going to leave you with a brain teaser because I think you must think about these brain teasers. Ma'am, if 2 is squared, so what is 4? So 2 squared is 4 and 4 squared is 16, I think. I think that's what you mean. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to leave you with this brain teaser, really to get you thinking about these powers, because we're going to do more powers next lesson. Okay, so when we do a brain teaser, we are just being curious about something. Okay, we're just asking a question. So approach it like that. Okay, so don't get stressed or think this is going to be in your test. We're just wondering about some important math stuff. Okay, we're just being curious. We're going to see if we can figure it out. Okay, so there's your brain teaser that you can take a screenshot of, and we'll talk about it on Wednesday. Okay, there's last 2 questions, Kanyisile and Siamo Tabiso.
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask if the quiz on Wednesday will be about this.
Yes, it will be. There will be square numbers and cube numbers. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, but remember our quizzes are low stress. You can do them as many times as you want until you get the mark that you want.
Yes, sir.
You can answer them. I just want you to think about it. Think about something you've never thought of before. What is the value of 1 to the power of 100? Don't answer them now. We'll answer them on Wednesday.